They opened up with a wrestling match. Christian Cage and Matt Sydal. I'm going to try to give credit where credit is due. There was nothing silly or stupid or phony or unprofessional about the work that either of these guys did. So I don't want to take the piss out of everybody, out of everything, rather. Two experienced professionals. Christian Cage is a guy that would keep Matt Sydal from doing too many acrobatics just for the sake of doing them. And they had a very good wrestling match. Having said that, it did absolutely nothing for Christian Cage or AEW business in general. First of all, I like Matt Sydal as a person, but especially the way that he's been presented on this program and the way that he's been presented really, which is not on national television since pretty much his WWF run. And they announce him at 166 pounds. They can't even push it to 180 something, and people would buy it. But you've got Christian Cage opening this program against a guy that has not only not won a match, he hadn't won a tag match or a single match on television, is barely seen, and he's at least 50 pounds smaller than Christian Cage and announced as such.
And that's one of the things, too, because whenever I think back to, like, Christian, like around the time he first got signed and, like, whatever, his first decade on national TV, because he was in the land of giants, I always think of, like, a skinny, slight guy, even though he's in great shape.
No, he's at least 6'3".
But he's never looked it compared to, you know, when he's in the ring with a bunch of big guys, he's never looked as big as he was. He always looked like one of the skinnier, you know, fit. He's in great shape, but one of the smaller guys. He's in there with Sydal. Not only did they announce Sydal as being 166, going to what I said earlier about the Iron Sheik when he was younger, he could have made 166 200 and no one would have blinked. But I thought that Christian looked gigantic next to Sydal, which is something considering what I always thought about Christian.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm not trying to knock either Christian or Matt. And Matt's a good talent. He does, as I said, too many acrobatics sometimes for his own good, but he's been places he's experienced. They're having a good wrestling match. In a vacuum, this was a good wrestling match. The problem is they don't have anybody with any more name value or star power to put Christian Cage over, especially opening the program. And after last week's setup, Matt Sydal's the one that interrupted Christian Cage's interview. Matt Sydal was acting like a smart-ass heel and basically told Cage that he had signed the contract. He was going to face him this week. So, but here, not only was Sydal working as a total babyface, but Christian was the rougher and more heelish guy, and he's the one that got the fucking set of heat on Sydal and gave Sydal a comeback instead of the other way around. So, besides the fact their setup and follow through on the presentation wasn't even consistent. Besides that, Matt Sydal takes this brand new main event guy, and I don't say brand new to the business, obviously, but brand new to this company, main event guy, past 10 minutes and was more than competitive, was actually on the verge of taking it at the end. And every time a name comes into this company, they have competitive matches for the first several months and then suddenly start getting matches with job guys. And the more that I watched this match, it was Christian Cage as a old experienced veteran trying to get Matt Sydal over as a young guy coming up. But that wasn't the place. This is not the place for that here. He was trying to make Matt Sydal look better, but besides the fact that the way that they've presented him so far and the way that they obviously have no plans for him, that horse has left the barn. It's not necessary. It's over with. But after taking 7 years off out of the business and coming back in here to make a splash, he needs to be more impressive than taking 10 minutes to barely beat Matt Sydal. That's what they don't understand. They figure these guys have to come in and have the best matches on TV first, and then they can get little things like wins later on. That's completely ass backwards. So then, after they established Matt was the smarmy, smart-ass heel last week that shoehorned his way into this match, then they have a match where the underneath guy is clearly portrayed as almost able to beat the new big star they've signed, who is acting as a heel, even though the other guy was a heel last week. And then, after they have the match and Christian finally wins, then they hug and shake hands. And then after they hugged and shook hands, Ricky Starks comes out to the stage to cut a promo on Christian Cage. And he kind of beat around the bush without telling people that he broke his neck. But he doesn't want to be on the sidelines, blah, 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 but obviously can't do anything physical, so he's calling Team Taz out. But Team Taz doesn't come from the stage, they come from behind, and there is Matt Sydal still standing in the fucking ring, waiting for what? He got beat, he got hugged, he got his hand shook. Get the fuck out of there. We're doing business with the main event talent.
You didn't see the package before the match, did you?
This was the first fucking match.
Yeah, and there was a package, I believe, showing that Sydal had problem with Team Taz on one of the YouTube shows.
Oh, good Lord. Well, of course there was. The job guy's still in the ring, getting in the fucking way when the grown folks are talking. Don't fucking conflict your goddamn programs and angles and bullshit to make it fucking more complicated. And they had a problem. Well, maybe they had a problem with the guy that gave him a parking ticket in the parking lot at Chili's last week. Does he need to come and hit the ring, get involved in this? So the Team Taz comes from behind, and Hook goes around behind and fucking, he has to do a certain kind of suplex that he knows how to do, the Northern Lights suplex with the bridge or whatever, on Matt Sydal. Problem is, to do that, you need to bear hug Matt Sydal from the front, and Sydal's back is facing Hook. So Hook goes in, instead of just glomming him from behind and start kicking the shit out of him, he grabs him and ducks under and waist-locks him and turns him around so he can do that one particular move. Why beat up a job guy? Anyway, it's done. He shouldn't even be in the ring. And then Cage and Hobbs, Brian Cage gets on Christian Cage, and Hobbs gets on Christian Cage with bad sloppy heat, while Hook is on Matt Sydal on the floor. And somebody please tell, I know Hobbs is new. Cage, I'm figuring Brian Cage, maybe a lost cause. If he ain't got it by now, but this was not good heat. Somebody teach him how to get some heat on a baby face that's down willing to sell for him. Adam Page comes out and goes over and hands Ricky Starks his drink, and then goes in the ring and makes a sloppy fucking save, where Hobbs floundered around like a lost beached whale. And then, if Adam Page had run out and thrown his drink up in the air and jumped in the ring to make a save, okay, but just to go out and hand it to the heel that called the other heels into the ring to beat up the guys you're going to save, they can't stop themselves from just being fucking silly. So Adam Page makes a fucking sloppy save, then Hook, who's everywhere, clips Adam Page from behind, and Brian Cage power bombs him. And then all the heels stand there while Adam Page is selling and Starks drinks Page's drink. They still can't be serious. During the whole time that this was happening, nobody tried to help. Nobody rang the bell. No referee showed up. Nothing. Your thoughts?
This is the second time they put a Christian Cage match on first that, while technically good, the Kazarian match in this, didn't really do much for Christian Cage, and also...
Oh, I forgot about Kazarian gave him even rougher go than Sydal did here. So Cage is going out every week and winning by the skin of his teeth.
It seemed like the match had a little bit of a purpose, at least early on, before, the post-match angle and everything. The commentators are using this match to just sell you on everything else that was coming the rest of the show. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that for anyone who thinks anything I say is negative criticism. But that was what they used the match for. And you kind of summed up the rest of my thoughts about it.
I know that a Christian has been around long enough. Maybe he just realizes, okay, they're paying me a lot of money. I'm just going to try to make a lot of these guys look better because none of this is going to make any difference. But he ought to know that he needs some type of name value people to work competitive matches with, or he needs to just beat some people in fairly succinct fashion at first to get over to begin with.